Hey people, welcome to the channel. I hope everyone is having a great weekend, and please do stay for this video. It's going to be a bit of a longer video. It is a topic that I believe deserves going more in depth, and that's the kind of thing you sometimes have to do. It cannot all be TikTok videos, 5-10 minutes. Sometimes you need to analyze things a bit further. Before I go on, a couple of things. First, I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow with Jeff Kirkland from the Homestead movie, the trailer, right? The trailer from that movie that I showed a couple of videos ago. Well, Jeff Kirkland, he's the author of the book in which that movie is based on. Homestead is based on, I think it's Black Autumn. Then don't quote me on that. But anyway, I'll be talking with Jeff tomorrow. He's former Special Forces, U.S. military, former Special Forces. He's a great guy, friend of the channel. We've talked with him before. I was with their channel, Ready Man, is it? Anyway, I talked with him as well. And yeah, just a great guy, and I'm so happy that I'll be talking with him tomorrow. So stay tuned. Also, for the movie, they have like this awesome like raffle or a contest where buying the tickets for the movie, you get like 1 Bitcoin, a house, a container full of emergency supplies. I don't know. Go check the trailer, the reaction to the trailer of the movie here in the channel. It just blew my mind. I've never seen anything like that. It is very awesome what they put together, and the movie looks great too. So again, looking forward to talking with him. Another thing here with this specific topic, you honestly want to be well prepared. The kind of stuff that I address here all the time in the channel, the kind of thing you always hear me say, yeah, buy my books. Yes, of course I do. I mean, I recommend my own work. Why wouldn't I? I promote it on every single one of my videos, but especially for this one, Surviving the Economic Collapse, Street Survival Skills. These 2 books, and Bugging Out and Relocating as well. My 3 books are something that will give you an enormous advantage if you have to plan and take action for something like this. So I recommend it all the time, but specifically for this sort of thing, which goes maybe a little bit beyond your standard preparedness for, accidents, emergencies, natural disasters, or things of those. No, we're talking here about large-scale conflict. We're talking about serious war. My books will give you a way of thinking, a mentality, and a lot of tools so as to be better prepared for taking action when you have to do that. That's the best way I can put it, okay? I also say here in the channel that it's both my books and it's the channel as well, where I do this sort of thing going more in depth on specifics. So I'm doing the video also because I got requests from people in Poland, some Argentines living in Poland. Hey, Fernando, how are you doing, man? You know what? I'm right here in the border. What should I do? Well, that's kind of the topic for you too. If you happen to be in the border, if you happen to be anywhere in Europe, if you happen to be anywhere in the world, and you need to understand how close are we to this thing, how bad can it possibly get? Well, bad? Yeah, it can get extremely bad. Very, very bad, right? And I'll analyze a few graphics and maps that have been put together by different people and media outlets analyzing different things. And we'll get into that in a second, right? Active duty ground forces, NATO, Russia, interesting stuff. Let's start with the most important thing, which is breathe. A little bit of common sense, chill, don't freak out. Chances of this happening are less than 1%. I mean, could it happen? Yes. Anything could happen. Stupid people could, take control of things. Yes, it could. How likely is it? Very unlikely. The worst case scenario that you could possibly think of is extremely unlikely. Why? Well, there's a couple things you have to keep in mind. You have to consider. It's not all just all that simple. What is that you have to consider? Well, you have to consider several things. You have to consider that Russia, just like in the case of the United States, have been involved in different actions, sometimes military in different countries, and have not always been all that successful. Yeah, I know. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. So if you look at recent history, and by recent history, I will go back to Vietnam, for example, just a conflict in which the United States was involved in. How well did it go for the United States and Vietnam? oh, we just didn't blow enough jungle up. That would have been a massive difference. No, it wouldn't have. Still a shit show. That was, yeah. What happened in Afghanistan? Well, you saw what happened in Afghanistan. Beaten by what? The Taliban, of all people, right? You have America had to leave the country with their tails between their legs, being chased, literally being chased out of the country. The largest military force the world has ever seen was chased out of a country by people in sandals. You know that is true. You may not like it, but you know it's true. I remember Joko Willick, right, the guy that does the podcast. He had a very interesting video where he was LARPing. He was live action playing a parallel. It was one of the weirdest things I've seen from an adult. But he did like a speech on how he would have liked to see things go. Like, we're not leaving here until we win, and winning is the only option. And he was like all gun-ho, you know, all of the Gear of War character kind of thing, right? Well, you know, Joko Willick being a former Navy SEAL guy and very pro-military U.S. dude. But that was not the reality. That was not what happened. What happened is that the United States had to leave. They lost. U.S. lost in Afghanistan. It's not only the United States. Russia also lost in Afghanistan. And there's a movie, there's a documentary called Rambo 3, which you should watch. Try finding the one where at the end of the video, at the end of the movie, the producers thank the brave mujahideen, the sacred warriors, basically a fucking Taliban. If you didn't know about this, look it up. I think that in YouTube you will find, like, look it up, like, ending of Rambo 3, right? Where the Hollywood, you know, the American movie thanks the brave mujahideen warriors of the region for they were fighting the Russians, right? And they actually won. So Russia lost in Afghanistan. U.S. lost. And so you have these large military forces that have lost before. What that shows you is that, yes, you can bomb lots of things. You can blow the crap out of lots of things. And you can be extremely brutal. I'm thinking of this little part of the world right here, which, you know, YouTube is not very fond of me talking about, apparently. But you can be very savage. You can be very brutal. You can conquer, destroy. Now, when it's not just a tiny little holding ground that you have, when it's actually a large country, that's another story. You need a lot of people. You need a lot of boots on the ground. You need to break those people, and people, you know, it's not that easy. When people don't want you there, that's another story. Case in point, Ukraine. Russia went for Ukraine. Russia went for Ukraine. It's been going at it for more than 10 years. This is not recent. Russia has had a number of successes over the years wherever they've been allowed to get in. That's something that a lot of people don't quite understand. It's not the first time. And all of this region, wherever they can get someone in there, wherever they can have their own stooge, like in the case of Belarusia, wherever they can have their paws, they will do that. That little, in Moldova, a little strip of Translandia, that little enclave that they have in Moldova, little enclave that they have here, wherever they can be, they will set root like the pests that they are, like the communist pests that they are, and settle until they're expelled from that or eradicated like a plague, which is what Russia is. So what I'm going at for here is first understand that this is extremely unlikely to happen because they haven't been all that successful in Ukraine already. How the hell do you plan to invade Poland? Poland has become an extremely powerful country. It is one of the largest, most powerful military forces in the world. Not only that, they have the population on their side. The Polish population is more than ready to fight until the end against Russia. Russia would be extremely stupid to go against Poland, to go against all of Europe. It would be suicide. They know it. We all know it. But stupid things have been done before. They try to take all of Ukraine. Maybe it was stupid. Maybe it was just a gamble of, we just kick out Zelensky. Let's see, we have the image of Zelensky getting into an American chopper, as he was suggested to do. Imagine if you had that. Zelensky getting into an American chopper, he flies away to safety, a coward, abandoning his own people, and yeah, the savior that had fled to Russia comes back, and finally order is reestablished, and Ukraine becomes just another Belarusia. That happened, a different story. Didn't happen though. They placed their bets, they lost, and they're still fighting Ukraine. They still can't beat Ukraine, which is with a lukewarm support from the West. It's not being supported by Europe. It's not being supported by US. Everything that you see in terms of support is business. There's really no intention of helping Ukraine. There was no intention in stopping Russia from invading Ukraine in the first place. There was no intention in letting Ukraine join NATO at all, because if not, it would have been allowed before they got invaded, or even after. Who says they cannot? There's no intention to do any of that. So Russia would be extremely stupid to think that, yeah, since I failed invading Ukraine, I will invade Poland now. Yeah, that's a great way of getting my shit pushed in very bad. No, they will not. Could happen? Yes, of course. Lots of stupid things can happen. Extremely unlikely, number one. Number two is Trump. You're 2 months away from having a talk. Trump, Zelensky, Vladimir Putin. They will sit down and try to see what they can negotiate. Now, Trump, I'm not a Trump fanboy in case you haven't noticed, but I will give him this. Trump is a very, he's a strong-willed character who, by the way, has a lot of respect from Vladimir Putin. I don't doubt that he has respect from Zelensky as well, which probably is a lot more scared of him trying to give away half his country to Russia just so as to have a political gain, which I would be worried about as well. But there's going to be a negotiation in 2 months. You don't want to screw things up before that point. But at the same time, Ukraine feels the need to make a show of force so as to reach those negotiations stronger. And the same goes for Russia. Russia cannot show weakness, so we have this posturing going on of, I'll just bring out the nukes and nuclear. No, you will not. Again, everything could happen, but no, you will not. You would be a dumbass to just go for mutual destruction when you're 2 months away from having maybe a big win, right? So what is the advice? Well, if we consider some of the different scenarios, and this is from Russia's Zapad 2017 exercise, this is what they were planning on doing. Now, notice how things have changed. This is no longer, this is part of Russia, Belarusia now, but also notice how things have changed here. Notice how things have changed in terms of who's a NATO state or not. So that's a big old pain in the ass right there. But the plan was this. This is the plan. This is the Russia's plan of invading Europe, if they ever dare do such a thing. Poland is very much hit on both sides. It's going to be very complicated, but it is going to be one tough nut to crack going after Poland. These may be a little bit easier. Over here, this is maybe your best chance of success, at least taking northern Sweden and northern Finland and northern whatnot. But here, that's going to be But this is what Russia probably has in mind if they go for an invasion. At the same time, we have to consider the worst case scenario is, well, Russia bombs everything. And everything means, anything that is allied is getting bombed. And keep in mind, for people that, we should not even be there. What are we? Well, because you're there already. People just don't know these things. You're there already. These are all military bases. These are all military bases from the United States with U.S. personnel all over. Why? Well, because you're there. You're there already. Pretending you're not there already is just being blind. This is Russia. This is bases in US. So all of these would be hit, as well as any other NATO base. In a worst case scenario, that could happen. How likely is that? Again, extremely unlikely. But that would be what gets nuked all over. At the same time, the immediate reaction would be Russia gets hit all over as well. And that's definitely something that Russia does not want. None of us want any of that, right? But keep in mind, Poland, for people that don't know, you have Russia here. This is the Kaliningrad Oblast. This is Russia. So it's Russia, Poland. Poland is cornered there. It's just surrounded both east and north by Russia. So that's why Polish people are very strong-willed in terms of, okay, so what is that you would do? What is that you have to do? Well, do what we talk about here in the channel all the time. If you're anyone, especially in the closer regions, you want to have a plan. You want to have a strategy. I have my papers, I have my documents, I have money for a plane ticket. Remember what I talk about in the books all the time. There's windows of opportunity. Have the money to buy the plane tickets, have a place to which you can potentially go, have a plan B in case you have to take a car, a vehicle, fuel stored, and again, places to go moving away. But if we learn anything from Ukraine is that, yeah, they may go for the capital, but usually it's the closest to the border that gets invaded first, and that's where you have boots on the ground first. So plan for that ahead of time and stay on top of the news. When you see things getting hot, maybe you make the decision. Guys, that's all the advice I have for you now. See you on our next video. Take care.